What is up, guys? Soulspurs back again with another video, and in today's video I have every record for each NFL team. Basically I have what I predict each NFL team will do. So yeah, let's just get started. I'm gonna start off with the NFC South, starting off with my Saints. I believe the New Orleans Saints will go 12-4. I believe they made some great moves this past offseason, signing Jared Cook, had a good draft, drafting Eric McCoy in the second round. Possibly got the steal in the draft with Chauncey Gardner-Johnson. I thought that was a great value pick, but I mean, yeah, 12-4. I don't think they go 13-3 again. I mean, you're losing out on some key veterans, some guys who helped you a lot along the way last season, and Alex Okafor and Max Unger. Not Max Unger. Why did I say Max Unger? Mark Ingram, excuse me. Oh yeah, you also lost Max Unger too. Excuse me. He did retire this past offseason, so I mean, he was your center for I believe what 5-6 years or something like that, which took us by surprise. And their star defensive tackle Sheldon Rankins tore his Achilles the last NFC Championship game, so he probably won't play for around half the season. So they'll probably take a hit there. But I think just talking about their depth, their offense and their defense, and how they're a great collective group, I think they should still get it done and win the division. But moving on to the second team, I have the Falcons going 10-6, the Panthers going 9-7. I have the Bucks going 7-9. With the Falcons, I think the Falcons are going to take a bounce back year. Last year they went 7-9, but basically their entire defense was injured. I mean, you talk about Keanu Neal went out with a torn ACL. Deion Jones, I believe, missed 10 games or plus or something like that. Two of their probably best defensive players. And yeah, I believe they go 10-7. They have a great offense, a good defense, so it'll show next year. The Panthers 9-7. My only concern with the Panthers is how is Cam Newton going to come back? Is he going to come back well from that shoulder injury? Is he going to come back to play, in the beginning of the season at all? We don't know this. It's a lot of question marks for the Panthers, so I just got them going 9-7. And with the Bucks, I'm still iffy on Jameis Winston, so let's just go with 7-9. And yeah, moving on to the NFC West, they'll have the Rams going 11-5. I have the Seahawks going 9-7. I have the 49ers going 8-8. And I have the Cardinals going 5-11. Now for the Rams, I think it's probably starting to take a step back this year. I mean, Todd Gurley, I don't know what happened to him. He got injured last year, and it's just been bad ever since. I think it came back and said that he won't be a bell cow back anymore. So that's something to talk about. Yeah, I don't know. I think they're definitely going to take a step back. I mean, I don't know. We'll see what happens. I think it all probably revolves around Jared Goff and how he improves or not. If he, remains the same as last year, I could definitely see him going, 11-5, 10-6. But if he does improve, 13-3 is possible, 12-4 is possible. But let's have them going 11-5. The Seahawks lost out on a lot of guys. Doug Baldwin, Russell Wilson's number one wide receiver retired. You lost out on some guys in free agency. Earl Thomas, obviously, is a big blow to your team. So I don't know how much of a load Russell Wilson can carry. But I think 9-7 is, I think that's probably mid-tier, probably expected for the Seahawks. I mean, I don't know. Besides Russell Wilson, I mean, obviously you draft DK Metcalf, but there's some huge concerns with him and how his route running is going to be and his catching abilities. So that's a reason why he fell into the second round. But their defense is still somewhat good. I mean, you also lost out on Frank Clark too. So yeah, but I don't know. 9-7. 49ers 8-8. I don't know. I feel like the 49ers are kind of an overrated team. I mean, Jimmy Garoppolo, he's an okay, an average quarterback. I mean, yeah, he went out with an ACL injury, early in the season last year, but they weren't doing good before that anyway. You drafted Nick Bosa, which is a good pick, but I'm pretty sure he already got injured. There are injury concerns with him, but he should be a great player for you. Richard Sherman is coming back healthy. Yeah, I don't know. I think this is probably what there'd be 8-8. A mid-tier team. That's definitely what I see them being. And the Cardinals 5-11. I don't think they're ready to compete yet. After you draft Kyler Murray, you need to improve that offensive line. That's really it. Just improve the offensive line. But yeah, 5-11 for them. Now moving on to the NFC East, I think the Eagles will probably be the best team in football next year. I have them going 13-3. Now for the Eagles, I think that what puts them probably above every other team is just their depth. They have insane depth. They have a great offense, a great defense. Last year, obviously, it was a weird year for them. They had lots of people injured. You had, it just wasn't a safe feel around the locker room, as some Eagles players are set for them. But obviously, you're losing out on guys like Brent Selleck, who are these veteran guys that are key in locker rooms. So yeah, but I think they'll bounce back from that. You acquired Deshaun Jackson, bringing him back to Philly. You had some good draft. Re-signed Darren Sproles, I believe, yesterday. He's a key veteran. He can still do a lot for you guys. But it's gonna be weird to see what they do with their running back group. I mean, I think they have like what 8 or 9 running backs in the room now, so more than likely 4 or 5 of those will be cut. But yeah, I think going 13-3. I have the Cowboys going 11-5. Cowboys are a scary team considering how young they are. I mean, if you just want to talk about their defense, Byron Jones, Leighton Vander Esch, Jalen Smith. On their defensive line, you have Antoine Woods, you have DeMarcus Lawrence. They have a great defensive line, a great linebacking core, a great secondary, and then on offense, you have Zeke. That's really all you need in that fantastic offensive line. Dak Prescott, I'm kind of still iffy on him. I think he's a good quarterback, but is he worth 30 mil? I don't think so, but 11-5 is what I see them being. Just because, I would have them like 12-4, but they're the Cowboys. I don't know. Jason Garrett is a weird coach, but you got a new offensive coordinator. You fired Scott Linehan, which I like. You got Keelan Moore, I believe who it is. So he should hopefully he opens up the offense more, but we'll see. I got the Redskins going 7-9. You signed Landon Collins. Did they resign Clinton Dix, or did Clinton? I'm not sure if they resigned Clinton Dix or not, but if they did, that's a good sign. If not, then oh well. You draft Dwayne Haskins with the 15th pick, which I think was an incredible pick. I'm surprised he fell that far, but 7-9 I think is reasonable for them. And then I have the Giants going 5-11. Talking about their draft, I think you definitely reached on a quarterback like Daniel Jones with the 6th pick. Oh my goodness, that was such a reach. Even if you didn't take, you could have definitely taken Dwayne Haskins over him. I would have liked that way better. And then Josh Allen also was sitting there too. He would have been a big piece to give for a defense, because your defense that you got right now is not looking too good. So I mean, yeah, I don't know. You came back and drafted DeAndre Baker, so that was a good pick, but I don't know, man. Their draft was weird. I don't know. And then you drafted Dexter Lawrence when you traded away Damian Harrison. I don't know. I don't know, but yeah, 5-11. I think Saquon will definitely get you guys at least 4 or 5 wins on his own. But maybe not 4 or 5, but like 3 or 4 wins on his own. So yeah. All right, moving on to the NFC North. Now this one was kind of tricky because I think besides maybe the NFC South, this is probably the most competitive division in all of football. So I have the Bears going 11-5. I have the Packers going 10-6. I have the Vikings going 10-6, and I have the Lions going 8-8. Now for the Bears, I don't even know. Now I'm kind of skeptical on this. The Bears, my biggest problem for them is Mr. Trubisky. Can he improve that much more? I think he and Jared Goff are probably very similar type quarterbacks in how you need to have an offense catered around them. Like you need to have superstar, well, they may not superstar guys, but you need to have a lot of pieces around them for them to succeed. In Los Angeles for the Rams, it's Todd Gurley, and it's Robert Woods and Brandon Cooks, and you have that fantastic offensive line to help Jared Goff succeed, and that awesome offense that is run by Sean McVay. And then in Chicago for Mitchell Trubisky, you have Allen Robinson, you have Tariq Cohen, you had Jordan Howard last year, but obviously you traded him. You have a lot of key pieces. You have a great offensive line. Also, then you have Matt Nagy, who's a great offensive-minded coach. So, I don't know. I think this team goes as Mr. Trubisky goes. If he can have a good year, I could definitely see them going 12-4. But I don't know. It's Mr. Trubisky. Their defense is great though. But losing out on Adrian Amos is going to be a big loss. Yeah, I don't know. I think 11-5 is a good record for them. I think that's good for them. Moving on to the Packers, 10-6. I think the Packers are gonna scare a lot of people this year. I mean, the moves they made, and this is, oh my God, the moves they made. Focusing on defense was a great strategy for them. You signed Preston Smith and Zadarius Smith, 2 great offensive linebackers coming from. I think Preston Smith came from. Where did he come from? I want to say he came from the Redskins. And then Zadarius Smith came from the Ravens. You draft Rashawn Gary and Darnell Savage to play your safety alongside Adrian Amos, who you stole from the Bears, which was a great signing also. Your defensive line is great. You have Kenny Clark and Mike Adams. Not Mike Adams, excuse me, Mike Daniels. And I didn't even talk about Blake Martinez, who should have a good bounce back year. Your cornerbacking group, you have Jair Alexander, who's a great pick for you guys. And you have Josh Jackson and Kevin King, who can hopefully turn out to be something great for you guys. And then on offense, you have Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams, a top 5 wide receiver quarterback duo. Aaron Jones, who I believe should get a lot more touches than he has in his past, and you have a great offensive line. And I think if you just meshed all those together, it'll just turn out to be great. And yeah, but yeah, the Vikings 10-6. I wouldn't be surprised if Vikings go like 8-8 or 9-7, because Kirk Cousins, I'm not sold on him. He I don't know. He's an average quarterback, and I mean with a team like that, I don't know how far he can take you, even if you do make the playoffs. So Yeah, and the Lions 8-8. The Lions are an ant team. They're an average team in my eyes, so I think 8-8 is respectable. Now moving on to the AFC side of things, the AFC South. I have the Colts going 12-4, the Texans going 10-6, and the Jaguars and Titans both going 8-8. I think the Colts are maybe not far and away, but they are definitely the best team in this division. You have Andrew Luck, who's finally back and healthy, who's been, criticized a lot because, he hasn't been healthy, but when he's been healthy, he's been amazing. He was definitely worth the tank, definitely worth trading Peyton Manning. 12-4 is definitely what I can see. You have Darius Leonard, who you drafted last year, who led the league in tackles. I'm pretty sure. Was he first team? He was an All-Pro. All-Pro rookie, and then I didn't even get to Quentin Nelson was an All-Pro offensive lineman too. Had a great draft. Whenever you draft 2 All-Pro rookies, that's just amazing. And you talk about guys who literally changed the aspect of your team. Quentin Nelson literally changed that offensive line for the Colts. They went from, I believe, one of the worst to, I think they were the best last year. They allowed the least amount of sacks. Yeah, you signed Justin Houston to a deal that should help you out. Your cornerbacking group, I'm a little skeptical on that. And then safeties, Malik Hooker, if he can have a healthy season, he should be good. And then on offense, you have T.Y. Hilton, who's, Andrew Luck's #1 guy. You have Mike Adams, I believe that's the name of your running back. I'm sorry if I forgot. I don't think his name is Mike Evans, but they have a good running back, so to say. I don't know. He's maybe like, I don't know if they have a running back by committee type thing, but Marlon Mack, Marlon Mack, he's a good running back. I'm happy that they did not overpay for a guy like Le'Veon Bell, but you have Marlon Mack, Spencer Ware, Naheem Hines. It's a pretty good running back group, I would definitely say. So, yeah, 12-4 for them. The Texans going 10-6. For me, the Texans and the Jaguars are interchangeable. But, I mean, the Texans, you have Deshaun Watson, you have DeAndre Hopkins. You lose out on Tyrann Mathieu, but I mean, you still have J.J. Watt, Jadeveon Clowney. It's going to be strange to see what they do, or interesting to see what they do with Jadeveon Clowney, considering that they didn't re-sign him to a long extension and he's on a franchise tag. Do you trade him or do you sign him to that big contract? I think you probably trade him. Jadeveon Clowney, for me, definitely has not lived up to the hype that he had coming out of college. So, yeah, it'll be interesting to see what they do with him. Your cornerback situation is same thing you could say with your safety. I mean, you drafted, I believe, Justin Reed, who's Eric Reed's brother. He was a good rookie for you last year, but I don't know. And hopefully Will Fuller can play a healthy season too. I think when Will Fuller and DeAndre Hopkins both play, that team is scary. That team is definitely scary. So it's interesting to see what happens with that. But yeah, and the Jaguars and Titans both 8-8. The Titans did get a new offensive coordinator, or just a coach in general, but Marcus Mariota, I think he's a good quarterback, but it's just how much more can he elevate your team? I don't know. Derrick Henry was great to end the year. You have Corey White. Hopefully this team can, make some strides, but I don't know. If everything does go right, I can definitely see this team possibly making the playoffs, maybe going 11-5, but that's if everything goes right, and I don't know if that will. And then the Jaguars. They signed Nick Foles. Is Foles magic, or whatever you wanted to call it, Foles is how he played with the Eagles. Will that translate to the Jaguars? I'm not too sure, man. I don't know if I'm sold on Nick Foles. I mean, he's more mature now than he was when he had originally left the Eagles, so maybe that should have an effect on him, but we'll see, man. I'm really rooting for him. Nick Foles, he had some great moments in Philly, since when he first got there, and just, these past couple of seasons. He's definitely had some great moments, but it'll be interesting to see what he can do with that Jaguars team. And I mean, even if you just don't want to talk about Nick Foles, their defense is going to be super scary. I mean, they were able to get, in my opinion, the steal of the draft and drafting Josh Allen. I thought Josh Allen was going to go like 4th, if not 4th, definitely 6th to the Giants. But, he fell, and he's just adding on to a defense that already has A.J. Bouye, who's a great corner. Jalen Ramsey. You have, I don't think you have a good safety position now that I remember, but I mean, your D-line, you add Josh Allen to Calais Campbell, and is Malik Jackson still on the team? I'm unsure. You have Tavon Bryan, who you drafted. Linebacking core, Miles Jack. Telvin Smith won't play this year, which will definitely be a big hit to your linebacking group, but I think you should still be good. Their defense is super scary. Their offense, we'll see how Nick Foles is. It's going to be interesting to see. But yeah. That's it for the AFC South. Yes. Moving on to the AFC East, it's literally basically the Patriots, and who cares about the rest, honestly. But the Patriots, I have them going 11-5. The Jets, I have them going 9-7. The Bills, I have them going 7-9. And the Dolphins tanking. So the Patriots, is there even much to talk about with this, division? Obviously, the Patriots are going to win the division. When was the last time they lost? I think they won the division 12 years in a row or something crazy like that. So there's that. The Jets made a lot of moves, signing Le'Veon Bell, getting CJ Mosley, trading for Kelechi Osemele. Made some great moves to surround Sam Darnold with great offense and bolster that defense. 9-7 is where I see them at, though. Bills 7-9. Another team who has made some great moves, silently, but maybe like under the radar moves, But I don't know. We'll see how Josh Allen can improve and if he can improve. And the Dolphins, I just put them going as 2-14 or 3-13. They're definitely going to take, if they're going to tank this year, it's obviously for Tua Tagovailoa, or maybe if Josh Rosen plays well, you're tanking for Jerry Jeudy, and then the following year, maybe you don't want to pay Josh Rosen, you want to get rid of him, you want to go out there and get Trevor Lawrence. So, yeah, but we'll see what they do. I think they're definitely going to tank, though, this year. Worst team in the NFL by far this year, probably. Moving on to the AFC West. Another top-heavy division. Chargers and Chiefs are the only two that I see making the playoffs. The Chargers, I have them going 13-3, and the Chiefs, I have them going 12-4. Now, this is interchangeable for me. The Chiefs can go 13-3, and the Chargers can go 12-4. But these are the two teams that are going to battle it out throughout the whole, season. Now, I think the Chargers are probably tied with the Saints and maybe the Eagles to having the best combination of offense and defense. I mean, the Chargers defense is great and their offense is great. On offense, you have Phillip Rivers, you have Keenan Allen, you have Melvin Gordon. You have a great offensive line. You have Hunter Henry coming back from that ACL injury. And then on defense, you have Joey Bosa, Melvin Ingram. You have Darren James, amazing safety. You drafted Nasir Adderley out of Delaware. What a great steal that was. You have Joey Bosa. I already mentioned Joey Bosa, excuse me. You have Desmond King. You have great players on your team, and Casey Hayward, great offense, great defense. I definitely see them going 13-3. The Chiefs 12-4. They might take a step back. I don't know, depending on how people play. Depending on their schedule, injuries, I don't know. You sign Tyrann Mathieu, good signing. You trade away D Ford, and you just traded away D Ford, and you traded for Frank Clark. Should be a good move. Their defense is always going to be a question. Their secondary is who's their cornerbacks? I don't know. They didn't really, assess that in free agency or in the draft. You released Eric Berry, which, Eric Berry never really played. So, but I mean, as long as you have Patrick Mahomes, you can have whoever on your team and you'll still be great. Tyreek Hill avoided the suspension, which, in my eyes is crazy, but yeah. And then 12-4. Broncos, Raiders 7-9, 5-11 respectively. I don't know. I mean, the Broncos are the Broncos. They've had relatively the same team for a while. It's just they haven't had great quarterback play. Who did they draft? Drew Lock. Hopefully can be that in the Raiders. I already talked about the Raiders in a previous video, but 5-11 is what I see them going. And now the final division, the AFC North. I have the Browns, Ravens, Steelers, and Bengals. Now, the Browns and Ravens, I have them both going 11-5. I think that's going to be a competitive duo. Browns, Ravens, that's going to be a great thing to watch. Lamar Jackson versus Baker Mayfield. You're going to have Marlon Humphrey probably versus Odell Beckham. Marlon Humphrey is a pretty good cornerback. Jimmy Smith versus Jarvis Landry. We'll see, but I don't know. Maybe the Ravens will be better just because the Ravens have, an amazing defense. Their defense is going to be so nasty next year. The Ravens, you sign Mark Ingram and you draft Hollywood Brown to pair him up with Lamar Jackson to give Lamar Jackson more weapons. I love those moves. The Browns, of course, their big move of the offseason was trading for Odell Beckham Jr., but they also had a great draft too, getting Greedy Williams in the second round, which was a great pick to pair him up next to Denzel Ward. I think they'll be great. I think both of these teams will be great, and it's going to be exciting to see what they do next year. The Steelers 9-7. Losing out on AB and Le'Veon Bell does not help your case, but they had a good draft. You draft Devin Bush. You also signed a linebacker. His name just passed by my head, but should be good outside linebackers. I don't know, though. 9-7 is definitely what I see them in. I think Big Ben is on the decline. Yes, he did lead the league in passing yards last season, but he also led the league in interceptions, and he also had the most passing attempts. So, that, has to amount for something. And the Bengals, 7-9. The Bengals are the Bengals. That's all I'm going to say about that team. But this video is running on long enough. But thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know your opinion down below. Let me know what I got right. Let me know what I got wrong. Let me know what I should change. But it's So Sports, and I'm out. Peace.